just when you thought it was safe. Hello, folks, and welcome back to our channel reviews. I'm so excited to be back, and today I'm going to be reviewing Deep Trouble, Goosebumps number 19 from OG62. Now, before I move on to the story itself, I would like to say a few words about the front cover. I so love it. It's so wonderful, so creepy, so terrifying, so good. You have that big hammerhead shark, teeth bared, and about to attack its next prey, who's a young swimmer, it seems, and who is trying to escape from this horrible sight. Now, the choice of colors is wonderful. We have a lot of blue in there, the sea, and you can see some sunshine piercing through, and so some yellow, and the sunlight seems to be reflecting on the shark's scale, on the shark's scales, on the shark's skin. So basically, the shark is mainly black, but he is also part white, and he seems to be glimmering here and there. He has that bluish look as well, so some bluish tint. And basically, you have the coral reef on the background, and it's really beautiful. All this green and pink and purple. What a wonderful sight. And even the swimmer seems to be, trying to basically, even the swimmer, the way he is, makes him sound relevant because he's kind of shining also, like shining yellow maybe, possibly because of his swimsuit, and also the fact that he's about to basically he's swimming toward the surface, right? And so that's basically how it is. Tim Jacobus did a pretty good job. The choice of colors was awesome in there, and I really enjoyed it. So basically, this book is pretty good. I really enjoyed it. Now, you might have wondered what it is about if you haven't read it already. Because it has that really similar look to the Jaws movie poster, right? From 1977 directed by Steven Spielberg. Very good film. I really enjoyed it. You have it's basically looks similar, except that here, you have a shark. Just like on the movie poster, there's another shark, and basically he's on the foreground, and he's about to attack a swimmer. And so it really reminds us about that, if you ask me. Now, the book itself isn't exactly how it goes. Now, there's a short scene, but mind you, it's only a very short scene and brief, and the book is not about, a couple of swimmers who go missing and who have to stay away from the water because there's a big shark that is basically trying to wreak havoc and trying to eat people up. That's not exactly how it goes, right? It's not that kind of a story. I would have loved it if it were. I would have loved it. I would have loved that kind of book, to be honest with you. But this book is more of an adventure kind of story, right? But let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Let me, tell you about what the story is from beginning to end, without spoiling, of course. So basically, we have that young boy. His name is Billy Deep, and he's Deep, last name Deep. That's pretty funny, right? It's considering the title and the sea theme and all that. And basically, he and his sister Sheena are gonna be spending their summer vacation with their uncle, Dr. Deep, who has that big research boat called the Cassandra, stationed, I believe, in the Caribbean, on the Caribbean island of Island Trap. And basically, they go to visit him and to stay with him. And he's kind of a scientist, a research biologist or something. I'm not exactly sure about what he does exactly. But his main job is to research basically the oceans and look for fish and basically observe them observe how they live basically in the natural environment, what happens, and what they eat, and so on and so forth. So he has big aquariums in his lab, and he's really into fish life and the marine kind of thing, right? So he's really into this, and he's really into fish life and plants, I believe, also coral reef and so on and so forth. You get the picture, you get the gist of it, right? And Billy sees himself as an adventurer. He sees himself as an Indiana Jones of the ocean, so to speak. So he'd make up stories about him fighting giant octopuses and squids and sharks. And so the shark scene is going to play a big role in his made up fantasy life, I would say, because this is gonna be relevant to the book, but not that relevant. It's not what the main book is about. So, yeah, something is gonna happen, and basically, Dr. Deep is gonna be visited by some dudes who are coming from the Marina Zoo, and they would like him to look for a creature that may or may not exist. And at first, Dr. Deep is kind of reluctant. He's like, there's no such thing, it doesn't exist. But then after consideration, he's like, yeah, why not give it a try? You know what? Yeah, at first he's like, it's just a wild goose chase, but then he's having second thoughts, and the kids kind of urge him to do it. And I forgot to mention, but Billy's sister, Sheena, is pretty competitive, I would say, and she's always trying to, get the last word in, whenever they're having an argument and stuff, pretty much like in The Curse of the Mummy Stone, Gabriel and Sari. It kind of reminded me a lot about this, that kind of that tense sort of relationship between the two characters was pretty funny. I didn't mind it. I didn't think that was annoying or anything. It was fun, but it was fine by me. And also, Dr. Deep is working with a guy named Alexander, and he's that big, beefy, burly kind of guy, and he's pretty fun. He makes a few jokes here and there, and he and the kids are getting along pretty well. And he's kind of that big brother figure, older brother figure, whatever. And so yeah, everything seems to be doing okay. But then they're going to go look for the creature, and this is where the story actually begins, if you ask me, because up until then it was mostly just, let's say, setting the storyline, starting with the foundations of the story, and then, the story really starts to unravel as we go on. So it's a really mysterious sort of novel, adventure type, and yeah, pretty much like a science fiction movie, but with a lot of with that big quest for adventure. You know what I'm saying? Like a little bit like looking for something that may or may not exist, like a quest. You get what I'm trying to say. Basically, yeah, they're trying to look for a creature, and they may or may not find it. And I will let you find out for yourselves if they did, because I don't want to spoil the book too much. I'll be reading the summary at the end as I will be closing on this video, as I'll be closing on my review. But I gotta warn you people, it will spoil the book. It does spoil the book. So if you don't want to have the storyline partially ruined, I wouldn't recommend sticking around until the end. Just wait for me to say, basically, maybe I'll say something like, yeah, I'm about to read the summary, so you should go now. So to let you know, if you haven't read the book before, of course, that it may be more suitable for you not to stick around until the end of the video, right? So I think that's yeah. Let me get back into the story, right? So basically, they're gonna be looking for that creature, and they may or may not find it. And so as the quest, continues and evolves into something more interesting and exhilarating, I would say, and mysterious, and so on and so forth, the story kind of gets more interesting as they're closing in on the creature. As far as the quest of the creature is concerned, not as far as they're closing in on the quest, as far as the creature is concerned that they may find, or maybe it's just a wild goose chase, right? And they're not gonna find it, but as the book goes on and we're about to end the novel, it gets pretty interesting. There are a few scenes in there which are pretty sad and heartbreaking. And there's that theme of protecting animals and respecting them all along the book, like, you know, kind of like a, I don't really know how to describe it, but basically it really emphasizes that all animals are worth it and that they shouldn't be mistreated and abused and taken advantage of, and that we should be nice to animals and kind. It's a big theme that plays a big role in the book as far as the story is concerned. And let me get this straight. I do believe that animals deserve respect, and I think it was pretty good in a Goosebumps book because it really it offers a good moral lesson to kids who reading this book, and letting them know that animals, even sea animals, animals living under the sea should be respected, and they're living creatures too. They're living beings, and we shouldn't be mean to them, and we should be nice, and so on and so forth, right? So I thought that was a pretty good book. Near the end of the book, there's a pretty interesting scene, which is basically kind of a wrestling scene, and at night, and this is one of the scary scenes of the book. But my favorite scene is the shark scene. Yes, it plays a role at some point. I'm not going to tell you exactly when it happens because I don't want to ruin it for you if you haven't read it already. But man, was it good. It's such a good book. I really enjoyed it. It's such a fantastic story, a fantastic scene. I mean, in the story itself, I really thought that this book, even though it was not a real scary Goosebumps book per se, was a pretty good adventure novel. And so, yeah, I already said that Billy is that, explorer and sees himself as a hero and, likes to make up stories about him fighting off monsters. Yeah, I think that was pretty cool, right? It's a pretty cool thing about the book itself. So I think I said it all. And so, yeah, one last thing is that, yeah, animals should be respected, and that's a theme that is being reasserted over and over throughout the book. And, yeah, basically it's like those, protective sorts of, this quest for protection of animals, I don't really know how to describe it, but I don't really, have, anything more to say about this book now. So yeah, that was a pretty good theme about the book, that you have to respect them and not be mean and to them or rude or anything. So I thought that was a pretty good book. So if I were to give it a rating, I'd give it 8 out of 10. I did prefer the sequel though, Deep Trouble 2, but this book was pretty good as well. So what about you folks? What did you think about this book? Did you like Deep Trouble? Did you hate it? Did you dislike it? Did you prefer the sequel? Did you prefer this one? Please let me know in the comment section down below. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it. And yeah, as usual, let me know in the comment section down below about your opinion. And see you in the next review. Thank you so much for watching, and take care. This Hearts and Reviews for you signing off. And now I'm going to be reading the summary. Don't go in the water. Billy and his sister Sheena visiting their uncle Dr. Deep on a tiny Caribbean island. It's the perfect place to go exploring underwater. And Billy's ready for an adventure. There's only one rule to remember. Stay away from the coral reefs. Still, the reefs are so beautiful, so peaceful. Billy can't resist. But he's not alone in the water. Something's lurking deep below the surface. Something's lurking deep below the surface. Something dark and scaly. Something half human, half fish.